All right, so Patrick Mahomes looked like vintage Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night against the Lions. He threw 3 touchdowns, he ran for another, and the Chiefs won 30-17. After their slow start, Kansas City suddenly is only a game back in the AFC West. Mahomes, though, is now favored to win the MVP at ESPN Bet. Josh Allen's 2, Baker Mayfield's right there, Drake Maye is right there. Mahomes was as long of odds as plus 2,500 to win MVP at the end of September. So I ask, after just one of these wins on Sunday night, should Mahomes really be a top MVP candidate?
Not yet. Jeez. I mean, he didn't. They beat the Giants. They beat Detroit. They beat Baltimore. Baltimore's defense was terrible. Played very well Sunday night, and he's the best player in the league. We know that. How is anybody worse odds or better odds than, in this case, worse 200 to 300 than Baker Mayfield? I mean, Baker Mayfield's been unbelievable. He's 5-1. Every game they win is incredible. That third down scramble for the first down
14 was incredible.
Was one of the great plays you're ever going to see. He scored 1 million points against San Francisco, albeit a bad defense because there obviously a lot of injuries with Bosa and Fred Warner in the second quarter of that game. But he has to be the MVP. They've won all these great comeback games. Atlanta, Seattle. I mean, Houston on 4th down. How in the world is he not the MVP top choice by far? I put Prescott over Mahomes, and I'm not knocking Mahomes. Lots of times, Pat Riley never used to win an MVP as the NBA coach of the Lakers because they all thought it was because he had magic. Kareem and Pat never, coach of the year, and he never won a coach, and that bothered people. And I know Mahomes is in the same kind of boat. They're so good, you almost take them for granted. So I get that. But right now, without a doubt, Baker Mayfield should be much higher, by far the favorite, and much lower odds than plus 300 to win the MVP in the NFL.
Stephen A?
Well, I agree. I agree with Doggy about Baker Mayfield, right? But let's not act like Patrick Mahomes doesn't belong in the conversation. Yeah, you got Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones. Those are names that come to mind. And damn it, why don't we throw Drake Maye in there?
Let's go.
The way he's looking right now. Okay, so we got to do that too. But here's why you have to include Patrick Mahomes. Not just because of his greatness, but let's also take this into account, Doggy. We know he's coming. You didn't have Xavier Worthy for a few games. You didn't have Rashee Rice for the first 6 games. You didn't have any running game because Pacheco and Kareem Hunt weren't giving you much. So what has Patrick Mahomes done? He's led the team in rushing and rushing touchdowns. Okay, that's what he has done. They got a top 10 offense, 8th in yards, 9th in scoring. We go a bit further over the last 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks of the season, or rather just 3 weeks ago, the man had a passer rating in the low 80s with only 3 touchdown passes. And since then, he's posted 10 total touchdowns and just 1 turnover over the last 3 games. He's now got 15 touchdowns on the season, 11 touchdown passes, 4 touchdown runs, 1,736 total yards on the season. Once again, leads the league in both TD passes and TD runs from the quarterback position, or total touchdowns, actually. And again, I remind you, reiterating, leading the team in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. That is a quarterback that is saying, no matter what the conditions are, no matter what what obstacles lie in my wait, I will find a way to keep us afloat as long as I'm breathing. That is what he has done. And so now we're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. We see Buffalo and what happened with them on Monday night against Atlanta. We don't necessarily believe in Pittsburgh yet. Drake Maye is still young, okay, in his second year at the quarterback spot. You yourself brought up Indianapolis' schedule, wondering about them, even though one could easily argue they're the most well-balanced team in football. Jacksonville hasn't sold, most people ain't sold on Jacksonville. Denver still's got issue with their offense, even though their defense is elite. The Chargers are still relevant, beating the Kansas City Chiefs, but that was at the opener in Brazil, which you came on Mad Dog, what are you mad about, and complained about the travel, and you blame that more than the actual game itself. So you pointed that out.
It's crazy.
Right now, that once again, even a game back in the AFC West, we are looking at the Kansas City Chiefs as the team to beat in the AFC.
I will say
That's
this.
Patrick Mahomes
Stephen
all
is
day,
right.
every day.
I would add shame on the Ravens, shame on the Bills, shame on these teams.
Not taking advantage of the moment.
They were 0-3. You had the Chiefs down, and now they're right back in the club. They walked right back in. They've got the best table in the club. They get Rashee Rice back. Worthy's here. We're healthy. And all of a sudden, they've got their Chiefs thing going on. And, Brian Branch comes after Mahomes. Juju takes a shot. That stuff, they galvanize around that stuff. I find it that it's more about the future. Baker's been amazing. They're all banged up. People are looking at, he gets Rashee Rice back. He gets Worthy back.
Peter,
this is what they're looking at.
My only correction to you, my brother, they were never 0-3. They were 0-2. And then they walked in and they beat the Giants on the road. You understand? They beat the Giants on the road. East Rutherford right down the block. They said, we can't go to 0-3 because their season would have been in grave jeopardy.
And how about Sam? This is where Sammy, our producer.
What's he got?
Sam, should Mahomes be a top MVP candidate? Change the A to the.
Ooh.
Should Mahomes be the?
Top MVP
that's the better question. The A. Of course he's an MVP. How could he not be an MVP candidate? We know he's an MVP candidate.
Well, first of all, he wouldn't have been an MVP candidate had they started the season 0-3 and they're sitting here 2-4 right now. Okay, that's number one. Number two, look at you to dime out our producers like that. This is what you do. You do this on Mad Dog Sports Radio as well. You call out your own. You call out your own contemporaries
all the time. How does he make that ever?
You mess their names up all the time, and then you call them out like you're the paragon of virtue. You're the epitome of perfection. Doggy never makes any mistakes, even though you make mistakes every single damn day. But you call out your own people on your channel like it's them, and it has nothing to do with you, even though it's the Mad Dog channel. That's what you do. You're unbelievable, man.
That's a terrible job by Sam. Of course he's a top MVP candidate. The question should be, should Mahomes be the top MVP candidate?
Well,
that's a terrible producing error.
First off, I want to shout out Samuel Tanucci. I think you're a wonderful producer.
He's a great job.
He's a great producer.
He's a great producer. You deserve that credit. Doggy, that's messed up.
He makes Doggy look good every week. If it wasn't for Sam, I don't know how Doggy might look 80.
80. Easy.
Can I add another name real quick though? Because I was in Atlanta. 80. I was in Atlanta, and Raheem Morris looks at me, and I'm doing the production meeting, and he says, "I have had Cooper Kupp in his Triple Crown season. I've had Julio Jones in his Super Bowl season. I had RG3 when he was tearing up the league. I have never had a better player than this Bijan.
He's right about that.
238 yards from scrimmage on Monday, 181. Now, I know we don't give this award to running backs for whatever reason since 2012. If they continue to win, I will tell you, Penix is a nice player. This team is built around that guy. Is there a window where we give the running back the award for the first time in 14 years?
I think you definitely could consider that. And they'd have to win 11 games. And, the Chiefs would have to be pedestrian. And Mayfield would have to fall off the clay for the. And same with Prescott, by the way, who's played very, very well. But, yeah, I can make it. He is great.
He's special.
And he catches the ball out of the backfield and everything else. Stevie?
He's an absolute stud. But Saquon got Offensive Player of the Year, but he didn't get League MVP last year. That went to Josh Allen. So we got to pay attention to that, number one. Number two, they're not in first place. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in their own division. You want to win league MVP honors, you beat John Robinson, you put up those kind of numbers Saquon Barkley put up, plus you win your division. And you resurrect the Atlanta Falcons, then we're talking about him as an MVP.
Two great takes.
I agree. Have to win the division.
I think the former take is great, too. If Saquon set that bar there and he didn't get MVP, Bijan has to blow him out of the water.
Well, that's where the quarterback has to be average, have average quarterback here for the running back to win it. Last year, Allen was great, so you had to give it to him. And you had Lamar, too.
Lamar, Allen, even Burrow had the conversation going for a bit there. Coming up, two AFC foes are both surprisingly leading their divisions. The Patriots and the Colts, some old friends. Also, you know what's next.
They put them on at the same time. You think Lombardi would allow that?